A kid kept kicking my sandcastle, so I built the next one with a rock. I was maybe 12, and we were at this lake in Alberta for the summer. My parents rented this tiny cabin that smelled like old wood and bug spray. And honestly, I was just happy to be near water because our town was landlocked and boring. So I spent like 3 hours building this sandcastle. I'm not talking about some basic mound with a stick on top. I made walls, 4 corner towers, and even carved out a little moat that actually filled with water. I found this perfect piece of driftwood and made a drawbridge that actually moved. I even stuck seaweed into the sand to make it look like trees around the castle. The whole thing was built on this rock platform that stuck out into the water, so it looked like an actual island fortress. I was so proud of it. I ran back to grab my mom's phone to take a picture, and when I came back, there was this teenager just standing there. He looked maybe 16, wearing one of those tank tops that guys think make them look cool. Before I could even say anything, he just walked up and kicked my castle. Not like a little nudge, a full soccer kick that sent sand flying everywhere. The towers crumbled. The drawbridge snapped. 3 hours of work just gone. He laughed and walked away with his friends like it was the funniest thing ever. I just stood there holding the phone, staring at the pile of wet sand where my castle used to be. I didn't even cry. I was just mad. That angry kind of mad where your face gets hot and you can't think of anything to say until way later. But then I had an idea. The next morning I went back to the same spot. I started building again, but this time I walked along the shore first, looking for something special. I found it wedged between 2 bigger rocks, this jagged chunk of stone that was probably the size of a soccer ball. It had sharp edges and weighed a ton. I could barely carry it. I dug a hole right in the center of where I was gonna build, dropped the rock in, and packed sand around it until you couldn't see it at all. Then I built another castle on top. This one wasn't as fancy because I was rushing, but it still looked good. Towers, walls, the works. Then I waited. I sat on the beach pretending to look for shells, but really I was just watching. Sure enough, about an hour later, the same guy showed up with his friends. He saw my castle and grinned like he just won something. He walked right up to it, didn't even hesitate, pulled his leg back and kicked. The sound was incredible, like a thud and a crunch at the same time. He screamed and grabbed his foot, hopping around on one leg. His friends were dying laughing until they realized he was actually hurt. He sat down in the sand and pulled off his shoe, and even from where I was sitting, I could see his toes were already swelling up. One of his friends asked what happened, and he just kept saying he didn't know. He didn't know. I walked over, super calm, and looked at the castle. The rock was still there, barely visible under a thin layer of sand. I looked right at him and said, "Huh, weird. Maybe don't kick other people's stuff." Then I walked away. He didn't come back to the beach for the rest of the week. I saw him limping around the cabin area once with a wrap on his foot. His friends stopped messing with anyone's sandcastles after that too. I built like 6 more castles that week, and nobody touched a single one. I even won a little sandcastle contest the resort was holding on the last day.